What if the thoughts running through your mind were never truly yours? What if your beliefs, your fears, and even your deepest desires were carefully implanted? Not by magic wands, but by language, trauma, and relentless repetition. Imagine a spell not cast in ancient tongues, but woven through screens, embedded in headlines, and reinforced by the silence of the crowd. This isn't mere influence, it's psychological warfare, a full-spectrum assault on perception, where your mind is the battlefield. And if you don't recognize the weapons, then you are already under their control. Reality, as we know it, isn't solid. It's liquid, shifting, a wave of perception crashing over the masses, sweeping them into emotional conformity, while the architects behind the curtain remain unseen. For centuries, true power has not belonged to those with the strongest armies or the sharpest blades, but to those who shape the stories we tell ourselves. Empires are not forged in truth, they are built upon illusion. From ancient Rome to the Third Reich, from newspapers to neural networks, the principle remains. Control the narrative and you control the world. Today's tools of influence are far more advanced. Algorithms curate your reality. Endless news cycles manipulate your focus. Social media drowns you in outrage and sedates you with dopamine. But behind the noise lies intention. Intelligence agencies, psychological operations units, private think tanks, and rogue elite circles. They don't just study the mind, they fracture it. They overload your emotional circuits, they weaponize confusion, desensitize empathy, and erode your ability to discern what is real from what is scripted. Every story you see on the news, every crisis amplified on your feed, every meme that goes viral, these aren't random. They're ritualized triggers, psychological spells designed to bypass your logic and embed themselves in your subconscious. They don't want you thinking, they want you reacting. So ask yourself, are your thoughts the echoes of your own truth? Or simply the residue of engineered emotional trauma? Chase Hughes, former Navy intelligence officer and a leading authority on psychological operations, warns that human beings are programmable. He teaches what the elite already know. Words function like spells, emotional states are trance states, and authority figures, if trained correctly, can induce obedience with nothing more than posture, tone, or timing. The most dangerous manipulations are the ones that feel like they came from within. When done well, you'll defend the very beliefs implanted to control you. But knowledge is the antidote. Awareness is resistance. And Hughes offers more than theory. He offers a blueprint for liberation. Because once you begin to see the spells, you can begin to cast your own. So the question becomes, when you speak, do you shape reality, or are you merely repeating someone else's enchantment? Visualize a wave, not of water, but of perception. A surge of headlines, outrage, imagery, emotion, and cultural momentum, all crashing together into a singular hypnotic current. That's what we're living in now, not a world of grounded facts, but a sea of carefully crafted stories designed to pull you under. And while most are swept away by this current, drowning in fear and confusion, a few, just a few, learn to surf. They rise above panic and noise. They master their breath, anchor their thoughts, and ride the wave with awareness. These are the modern magicians, not cloaked in robes or hidden in temples, but walking among us, decoding the illusion in real time. They do not run from chaos. They ride its rhythm. They dance on the edge of the storm. To stand in this place of power, you must master 3 sacred arts. Observation without reaction. You become the silent witness, unmoved by the performance. Emotional sovereignty. Fear is their tool. When you transcend it, their grip weakens. Spellcraft. Understand that language, imagery, and narrative are the tools of creation, not just communication. When the headlines scream panic, you remain still. When the crowd howls, you breathe deeper. You no longer conform to the story, you become its author. And that, perhaps, is the greatest threat to the architects of control. Because spell-breaking is not just about seeing the illusion, it's about reclaiming the power to shape your own. To recognize the coded language, the hypnotic framing, the embedded instructions disguised as news or entertainment. To dismantle the emotional scaffolding of your beliefs and rebuild from a place of clarity. You become a magician of reality. A master of your own mind, you stop parroting beliefs inherited through fear and begin crafting new ones, deliberate, intentional, free. This is advanced surfing. This is the transformation from puppet to player. Mass psychogenic conformity explains how entire populations adopt false narratives, not through logic, but through shared emotion. History is filled with these moments. Cult hysteria, nationalist fervor, global panics. Today, it takes the shape of tribalism, identity worship, and synchronized outrage. It feels safe to conform, but to awaken, you must leave the comfort of the collective. You must walk alone. You must risk mockery, silence, and suspicion, because true awakening is not a celebration, it is exile. But that is the price of liberation, and it is the one thing the elite truly fear: a mind that cannot be programmed, a soul that cannot be swayed. So ask yourself, how many of your opinions were purchased through fear, not reason? The world ahead will not quiet down, the waves will not shrink, the spells will not soften. But this is not a reason to despair. It is your call to mastery. You were not born to drown in illusion. You were born to ride its current, to move through its chaos with vision and power. Surfing isn't escape, it is union with the storm. It is poise amidst distortion. It is the art of navigating unreality with spiritual clarity. As the old world crumbles and the dream collapses, those who ride with awareness will shape the next.